Yes, don't you know?
You get 2 sheets every Saturday. You put the clean sheet in the top sheet in the bottom sheet you turn in the laundry boy. Any man turns in the wrong sheet spends the night in the box. Which no one will sit in the bunks with dirty pants on. Any man with dirty pants on sitting on the bunk spends the night in the box. Any man don't bring back his empty pop bottle spends the night in the box. Any man loud talking spends the night in the box.
Oh, it's going to be like an hour in the box. We've got her, Senator Susan Kent, with Cleanup an Aisle 9, or Yabba. Senator, how are you doing?
I am doing great. How are you doing?
Good. How is the #1 internet newspaper doing? The MIP.
Thank you for at Woodbury News. Woodbury Newsnet.
Okay.
Woodbury
Internet News. Okay.
Woodbury Newsnet. WNN.
Oh, WNN. Okay. Woodbury Newsnet. How is it going?
It just celebrated its first birthday on August 1st. Yes,
that's nice.
I'm so excited. It is super exciting. So, and we have a new editor, and things are rocking and rolling. It's a quiet month in July, which is a good time for us to be starting our ad sales, which is also happening. No, it is good because
who do they get a hold of if they want to do ad sales? Who if somebody wanted to throw an ad? Who would they get a hold of? Is it you?
You can go to the Contact Us page on woodburynewsnet.org or advertising at woodburynewsnet.org.
Just so folks understand, the fact that you started this a year ago and that it's still here a year later, it's almost remarkable. It's very tough. I don't mean to be mean, not you and personally. Business.
No.
Okay, that sounded really bad, Al.
No. It's one of those things that it's like, if I had known what I was getting into, would I have done it? It's been a challenging, in a good way, but a lot of work here, so, yeah.
But, that's not that hard. It is. It's tremendously hard. Otherwise, there'd be many more of them. So I presume if folks want to get one like it, they need to contact you and study how you guys made it. Because a year is a long time to take from nothing to something, and you guys have done that. So I just threw it out there. Congrats.
And we've got 3,300 subscribers for free, and our traffic is growing, and and all that is really exciting. And, I think I mentioned to you, I had been to the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities on a local news panel, and we have a group here in the Metro. It's called the Metro Nonprofit News Network. But the idea is that we want it to grow to be the Minnesota Nonprofit News Network.
Nice. And
we support each other. I mean, it's been a real help to get started and to know that you're not alone, that people have done this. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's happening around the country, and it's a good thing, because if we don't know what's going on in our own communities, we're just sunk. And this isn't partisan. It's a community thing. Yeah.
People will hate this when I say it's the replacement of newspapers. Let's be honest. Newspapers in small towns are going away. Sorry, I'm in a small town. That's just the way it is. So this is the way we'll fill that void of getting the news. So it might just be a natural progression.
And Al, you appreciate this, I know, because what we're doing, just like what you're doing here, it's not about the actual medium, right? It's about the information. Yeah. It's about, so in the case of Woodbury Newsnet and our counterparts, the money that we raise as a nonprofit, but we just put any money we make right back into hiring more people and putting out more information. But the product is the information and the news and the journalism and the reliable information we're giving the people of Woodbury. And the medium doesn't matter, because guess what? In this day and age, the medium aspect is going to change time after time after time. What's sustainable is
Let me ask you this, and this is editor stuff inside baseball, but I'm going to throw this out to you. I am hoping when the internet news networks in small towns catch on, they will learn from their predecessors, the newspapers. And what I mean by that is give me who, what, where, why, and when.
Yep.
Leave it at that.
Yep.
And you know what? I think people will flock to it. If you're telling me how I should think about who, what, where, why, or when, I think we'll be right down the same road. Is that the goal? I'm trusting that's the goal. That'd be fantastic.
I mean, I can't speak for everybody, right? I mean, different communities and different organizations are going to have different purposes, but very much that's what our purpose has been. And one of the conversations that we've had, this is something I said on the panel when I was at that event in Bemidji. We have completely reinvented how we listen to music, how we watch TV and go and see movies. All of this stuff has completely changed. And the same is very true about how we get our information. And the problem at the local community is there's nobody else doing it for our local communities. There are a number of places I can get national news. I can get state news from a number of places, but there's really only you're only in your local community, you're going to get information about your local community. And so we have to restructure how we use this information, how we support it, because it's not free to get reliable information. But one of my favorite stories last year, because we're coming up on Woodbury Days, it's our big annual event. We were there last year. We'll be there again this year. And there's a woman who was a constituent of mine when I was in office, very conservative. She was in my email inbox, all caps, on a regular basis. And, I knew. So I see her heading my way when I'm wearing my Woodbury Newsnet t-shirt and I'm handing out flyers. And she's coming to me and she looks at me and she goes, "You." And she said, and it coincidentally, the other co-founder of this was a previous DFL Senator, Kathy Saltzman, as well, right? So it's total coincidence that happened. But anyway, she comes up to me and she goes, "When you and Kathy were starting this thing, I was really worried." She goes, "But I really like what you're doing."
See, because
that was the best possible compliment I could get.
See, two things. One is, when it comes to talk radio hosts, and I'll just do this from my end, I loved Rush Limbaugh. You say, "Yeah, you're conservative knuckle." Not for anything he said. The idea that a man could spend 3 hours talking without guest to anybody and just fill it, fine. I'm a big free speech guy. He can say what he wants. You don't have to listen to Rush. The Colbert thing, where Colbert gets fired here gets fired in a year from now, whatever. That's the greatest firing gig of all time. You're making $20 million a year. We're firing you in one more year. Hopefully you can put enough money aside to survive, And
say whatever you want in the.
So my point is, I'm a big free speech guy, and I did not want Colbert to be fired. Now, you're losing $40 million a year. I don't know how long you can hang on. But my point is, I didn't have to watch him if it offended me, right? So, but I wanted him to be able to say it. So I'm not thrilled with ABC. I mean, again, $40 million is not my money to lose, so we got rid of him. I hope something fills it, but this is back to my point about if you can do both sides. I think Colbert was a funny enough guy, but he just went to one side. We're going to rip Orange Guy all the time, and you lose half your... I just trust we're all learning something as we watch this. Again, I like Rush for different reasons. I can't imagine 30 hours or 15 hours a week of nonstop talking without help.
This goes back to the point I was making that I don't think I've made it clearly enough because I get off on a tangent. But
you and
occasionally.
me.
Here's
how we get to the end of this program is beyond me. Between the two of us, I don't know where we're going to end up. We're in Texas.
Here's my cleanup on aisle 9. But the point is, there's infinite places to get opinions, right?
Yeah.
But there are not infinite places to get reliable local information.
Oh, and local's the thing. When's the last time we heard about Woodbury, except for the one big story, which there's more going on to Woodbury than that, but that's the only thing the big papers will cover.
We never know what's going on in our school board or our city council or anything.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
All right, so that one question. I mentioned we were in Texas. Can we talk about Texas in a minute? I
have thoughts, yeah.
Well, I have no doubt you do.
That's where I used to live.
Senator Susan Kent on the Al Travis Show. Back right after this.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try something different. Put out the perfect barbecue flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. Add it to your ribs, dip the meatballs, or drench your wings in the original flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. It isn't too hot or spicy, fruity or smoky or whatever. Grandpa's Barbecue. Available in select stores and online at grandpasbarbecueshop.com.
There are many ways to explore Alexandria. Some like to experience the outdoors and all the fun winter in Minnesota can provide. Pick your favorite way to get in touch with nature. Others like to explore downtown in the warm comfort of a boutique or gathered around a table with friends. You can do all of that or relax and do nothing at all. Come explore Alexandria. Start planning at explorealex.com.
Easily offended? The Al Travis Show is not for you. The Al Travis Show. All sides are welcome.
We've got our Senator Susan Kent on with us. I find the Texas story, what we're talking about is, I think it was 50. It might have been 60. I have to get the number right. Texans, state legislators who got out of Texas because they didn't want to have to vote on the new districting of voting lines, district lines. They didn't want to vote. Yeah. And it reminds me a ton of what happened a year ago here in Minnesota. We don't want to do this, so we're not showing up to work until you get us a thing. You're shaking your head. I'm not off, right? This looks like Minnesota in reverse, north to south. Your thoughts on
I don't think it's in reverse.
Issue?
I think it's the same thing.
We're in the minority. We don't like what's going on. Minnesota was tied, so I don't think that was definitely a minority.
That's not how any of this works, but okay. Yeah.
Well, okay. I'm throwing it up to you. What am I missing? How is it different? We're not going to work. We left the state because they'd have to go because we don't want to vote on this, so they don't vote because they're not there.
I'm going to defer to who I think must be and just to remind the listeners, my mother's family is from Texas. My mother is still in Texas. I go visit her in memory care there multiple times a year. I beam into your show from there periodically.
Better clean it up.
I went to University of Texas at Austin. I am a lifelong Longhorn and lived in Austin for about 20 years. It's where I met my Minnesota husband and our son was born. So I have strong.
And then he brought you back here. This really does show how much I'm going to hate your husband. No, I'm kidding.
He brought me here and then I ran for office. Wasn't that fun?
Changed everything. All of a sudden you're on my show. Okay.
Anyway.
So now we got your background.
So there was an interview with CBS yesterday, CBS News, and the woman's name is Ann Johnson. She's a Texas Democratic representative, and she was asked, "Were you running from the fight?" And her response was epic. She said, "Nope. Abandoning your job is going to Cancun during a deadly freeze." Thank you, Senator Ted Cruz, for those who remember that one. And then she said, when Trump asked the Georgia GOP to find 11,000 votes, they said no. When he asked the Texas GOP to steal 5 seats, they said, does July work for you? And this is the point. This is not any kind of normal in the way the Constitution and the laws work about how we establish our election boundaries. It's the classic, elected officials are choosing their voters, not letting voters choose themselves. Okay. So in this case, it's a redistricting issue. And then to the comparison of the Minnesota House DFL, and I made this point on Threads yesterday because I feel the exact same way. I know that my friend Melissa Hortman did not do what she did last year lightly. It is a personal, for those of us who want to serve the public, we want to serve the public. We want to be there. We want to be doing the work, right? And I can guarantee you that is true of Melissa Hortman and a whole bunch of the House DFLers who I know. And, they were very intentional about continuing to do work in their districts in the time when they weren't there. But we need to go back to the reason they were there. It was about honoring the oath of office. And sometimes you have to do that. You have to take a stand. And this was because during that time, Republicans were openly threatening to refuse to seat Brad Tabke, a Democrat, after a close election. We hashed that out over months, you and me, Al. After a close election was held up by the courts, right? So, this went through the process. It was legal. And House Republicans would not say, no, we're good. They continue. That was the game that was being played that led to that. But in both cases, this is Democratic legislators saying, you are not playing by the rules. You are breaking the rules. You are going against everything the U.S. and state constitutions and laws say. And we're going to do what we can to slow this down and hopefully not allow it to happen.
Let me throw this out. I find it interesting, the high ground you want to take. They did it in, some guy went on a vacation in Florida. So see that we can do this. That we're taking the high ground on this gerrymandering. You can't do this. This is wrong. Let's just use Minnesota as an example. We have certain congressional districts that are a lock solid for certain people that will never change. If you look at the congressional district map, you'll see some senators have all of 2 or 3 counties that they must go see and take care of, while you'll see, and I'm going to use the first because I'm down here, It's like 29 counties out of 60. You look at Fishbox, I don't know, 7 or 8. My point is, we
represent people. We don't represent.
And my point being is,
acres.
This happens because of the district lines we decided to draw back in the day, because it isn't a direct sample. Here's my point: we literally have to have the Supreme Court, the judiciary, set ours because we are so crazy about it in Minnesota. Depending who was in charge, this pie got all funked up, and we literally in Minnesota. So for us to talk about Texas, we can't even do it ourselves here. To sit there and tell Texas they can't do what they want.
It's different laws. It is totally different laws. And there are a number of reasons I'm sure nobody's entertaining the things that are being proposed in California and Illinois and New York in Minnesota. But one of them is that our laws and around setting district boundaries are different. And so the reality is in Minnesota, there has to be a map that is passed by the legislature, that is approved by the governor. And because we are a close state that tends to have relatively divided government, we haven't done that in decades.
But that's
right?
the point. Relatively divided.
But we provide on purpose this judicial path, and people know that that's there, and they know it works. And the map.
But it isn't fair, and it doesn't work because you're looking at a state that Senate-wise we're a difference of 1. House-wise, we're literally split right down the middle. Right? I mean, 67, 67. But on a congressional level, there are seats that are a lock. How has that happened? We should have a pie going out like this from the middle of Minneapolis, St. Paul out, get the numbers right so you have as many Minneapolisans, St. Paulians as you have Worthingtonians out here so that you can we all have the same Minnesota type. We don't do that. We draw a circle around this one, compact, easy to get to.
You should get some people on from different organizations that work in the redistricting.
I would love that if you know them. Let's do that.
I do indeed. This gets really wonky and annoying, and I spent way too much time, and I was in leadership during this moment studying the way this works. But there are things that go into, they're called the principles, and that's an actual word that is used. It means something. It's not just like general principles about that go into dividing these maps, and they have to do with geological boundaries like rivers. They have to do with the different types of communities and making sure that there is but the Constitution is what sets and law is what sets the fact that each congressional district has to be made up of a certain number of people, and those principles combined is what has led to the very impartial judicial process maintaining the framework that we've got.
Yeah, the impartial judiciary, we got to go, is only because we can't get along as a House and Senate and the governor to get this done. The last case is then it goes to the judiciary, and that's where we're at every time, every 10 years, because we can't get it done. I just want to throw this out because I looked up gerrymandering. Early 19th century from the name of Governor Eldridge Gerry of Massachusetts, and salamander from the supposed similarity between the salamander and the shape of the new voting district on the map he drew. So that's how we got gerrymandering.
Our maps are not gerrymandered. These are done for, different strategic, important fairness reasons. And I just want to say, this is about fighting for our Constitution and our rules. And that's what Democrats are doing in Texas. That's what they were doing here. And I just want to say that not showing up for work is what congressional Republicans did when they took an early recess for the summer to avoid taking a vote on the
and again back to we take the moral high ground because the Republicans did the same thing. We keep fighting with you did it first, so I did it better, so you can't say anything. At some point, the refs got. You just said it was the same thing. You just said the Republicans just did that, and it's the same thing as us not showing up to work.
Yeah.
I got to go. We're so. We'll be back after this with more Susan Kent on the Al Travis Show. Kiss the commercials goodbye. Who needs those?